Hey team, Martin here. Flash, CyberN, whatever you want to go by. Notice anything different? Because this this is really weird to me. I'm staring right at you, talking to the camera. You notice there's no headphones, there's no microphone in front of me. I bought a new teleprompter, so I don't know if you guys know what that is, but I got the words scrolling up on a screen in front of the camera, and the camera looks right through it. So I'm gonna use you guys as my guinea pig to see how this works. I've got the little fancy remote here that controls. Go on, camera. There we go. Controls all the words and scrolling. So I just want to see how it's going to work tonight. And microphone. See down here? Yeah, see that little green light down there? There you go. That's the mic. It's a new wireless, cordless. Portable mic system, and I think other than me rustling around with my shirt, I think it sounds pretty good. Anyway, let's get to this. So I wanted to put together like a little video to talk about SiberCast, the state of the network, but that sounds a little too political, so maybe we can just gather together from the cosmic reaches of the universe or something stupid and silly like that. But I just wanted to go over some things and kind of start off this new year, start off with a network discussion, since we're all one big happy Justice League of hosts now. Man, it's going to get weird talking to the camera. It's talking at the camera. I'm so used to being behind it and not even actors talk right at the camera. It's just weird. Anyway, to start off, I want to make sure that you guys all know that I'm not your boss. I don't want to run things like that. This isn't going to be like how GSM did things, where I want us to be all on the same level. We're all equal here. And David, if you're wondering what GSM is, that stands for Golden Spiral Media, which is where we all kind of got our start as podcast hosts. So, but nothing against GSM or nothing against Daryl over there. He's great. GSM is great. I'm just saying that I don't want SiberCast to be business-like, the way it was over there. It was all about, making money and being more business-like and having this structure and these rules and stuff like that. I don't want to run it like that. I want us to have fun and continue to have fun. This is our hobby, because we're not going to hardly have any rules here. There's just a couple things I'm going to go over tonight. But I just wanted to make sure that you guys know your shows are your shows. I don't own them. They're yours. You guys are in charge of them. You can do whatever you want with them. You can talk about whatever you want. Even if it creeps into something gross or full-on R-rated content, if it's some freaky-ass horror movie, or you want to talk about dressing little pigs in tutus, I don't care. whatever you guys want to talk about, it's your show. As long as it's something you're passionate about, that's really the only rule. It's got to be something that you are passionately interested in. That's the whole tagline about SiberCast. So if there's a rule or a boundary, that's what it is. And I think that's pretty fair, right? So let's get back to the boss thing, because if anything, you could say I'm the leader of SiberCast. I don't know what other word to use. I mean, since it's my network and we're all under that umbrella, which, by the way, I want to just say that I'm totally thankful that you guys are all here with me, because it's fun. I've never imagined that it would get to a point where we have all these shows under the same hood with all different hosts. I mean, I only made the SiberCast Network to easily connect legends to SiberCast, and within Lipson and all that kind of stuff, and keep everything kind of connected that way. So that's the only reason I really made it. But I guess, when you have a few passionate hosts, I guess it's inevitable that you're going to grow. And when people want to join us and be with us, then the thing's going to grow. So to me, it's only smart to make kind of a network out of it. But anyway, with that whole leadership role, I wanted to share with you guys what I'm hoping to do this year with the network, looking at it. And it's nothing big. It's not going to be a lot, but there's some things that I want to get in the works and get going here, and I want to be able to offer whatever help I can to you guys when I can, if you guys need it, because you guys are, as knowledgeable as me. So let's get to those parts. Like I said, it's nothing huge. None of us have time these days to really do a lot. The main goal is really just to get us all aligned better and make this an actual network. More than just name dropping on our shows. I mean, that's great, but I want to do a little bit more than that. So the first thing that I've been doing is been working on a website for quite a while. I started the website like almost 2 years ago, and probably over 2 years ago. But since I bought this house and life got busy. I just never got back to it, because I was planning on putting together a website that incorporated my video production, my drone piloting, and the podcast, and kind of combine it all and make everything under Cyber Productions and have it all, all connected through the similar names. But I'm working on that. I might just do a podcast page. I don't know. What I got to do is revisit with the developer, see if he even still has it up and running. I tried to access it the other day and it wasn't there, so I don't know if he still has it saved or what. But I might also try to go through one of those build your own websites that seem to be all over the place now, like Wix or Weebly or something like that. But the idea of a website is to gather all of our shows in one place, so that anyone that goes looking for one of our shows can see what else we also have to offer, for their listening pleasure. But at the same time, each show, I want to make sure you guys know, each show will have its own page. You'll have your own domains. I'm sure you guys have all bought your own domains. So from your domain register, you'll just have it point to the website and point directly to your page. So for instance, someone who looks up The Mandalore, say, if they go to mandalore.ca, they'll jump right to that page. But what they'll see is along the top, there'll be tabs showing the other shows that are available in the network. And so what that basically means, as a whole, we are bigger together, and it's going to allow a lot more exposure, or maybe a little bit more exposure, to all the other shows, to anybody new that just happens to come to the website to look, to check out our notes or check out our pictures or whatever. It just gives us that exposure that they can see. Oh, wait a sec, these guys do other shows? Well, what's dive into DC? Let me click on that, and there you go. You just got exposure by one simple click. So that's something I want to work on with that. And then I also thought having those profiles, which is what I like what GSM did, have a profile picture and have a little write-up about each host, and just so people get to know us, so they can see our faces, see what we look like, see what we're like as real people, and what our interests and stuff are. Just a little profile, which I thought would be really cool to have. So in that way, it starts to personalize things a little bit more and connect us a little bit more. So that's idea number one. The other thing, which I know you guys have heard, we've already discussed it in Facebook Messenger and stuff, and that's doing more crossovers with each other, just like our TV shows do that we cover. I thought it would be fun to have the podcast do that as well, following suit, having us guest on each other's show. Now, whether that's just as a drop-in to take part in an episode breakdown, or if it's to cover a specific topic that we created just to have a crossover, it doesn't matter to me. We're all fans of the same stuff, and I think it should be pretty easy to visit each other's shows. And it doesn't have to be often, more of a surprise guest popping in type of thing, because these are our shows, and I don't want guest appearances stealing the thunder, stealing the spotlight away from the main host. So it'll just be a surprise thing every once in a while. And while on that idea, the very first one I want to kick off this year, which I think Jeff already kind of gave you guys the hint. He sent out an email, which I haven't been able to respond to yet, sorry, is I want to do a Flash Season 9 preview with all of us, with whoever's going to be involved. So right now I'm thinking it's just Jeff, me, John, and Justina that would be involved in covering the Flash coverage. But David and Jess, if you guys are watching and you'd like to jump in just for the heck of it to talk about an episode, then we'll figure that all out. But John and Justina, what I want to say is that you guys just did such a great breakdown and catch-up of all of Season 8, so I think that's a perfect segue into a preview episode. We can do some speculation, we can discuss what we hope to see and how we think it's all going to come to an end, because the Flash is ending, essentially the Arrowverse is ending, so we can speculate how we think it's going to end, which I think would be really cool as a preview episode, just to kind of see where our heads are at, see where our hopes are at, and how it lines up with what we end up eventually getting in the 13 episode final season. So then once the season starts, then we'll have you guys come on to the Legends show every once in a while. John and Justina, Jess and David, whoever wants to do it. Just have you guys come on once in a while. We can take turns guesting. It can be me and John one day, Justina and Jeff one day, whatever works out. We just got to figure that whole schedule out. And we got to figure out for the preseason show when we can do that. I mean, between now and when it starts in the beginning of February, any day of the week basically is open for me except for Sunday nights, because that's when I record Mandalore right now. So whatever night works, let's figure that out. And then once Superman and Lois starts, we may need you guys, John and Justina, to step in a little bit more often to take a guest spot or two, because it's going to get busy for us with holidays and with me doing like 4 shows at once and things like that. So we might need you guys to step in a little bit more. So all of that we should get together and discuss, and we can maybe discuss that before we start recording our preview show or something like that. So if you guys are up for that, I'll post the question after this in the Facebook Messenger, and we can start discussing it and figure out what's going to happen once all that time once it starts going. So that's the 2 ideas. Once Flash starts, I think it airs on Wednesdays, so we usually record Legends on Fridays. I know you guys do your Dive into DC on different days of the week, so Friday I think is going to be the night that works for Flash, because then it gives everybody 2 days to get feedback in. And then once Superman and Lois starts, maybe we can move Flash to Saturday nights, possibly, or Thursday night. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out as well. But anyway, that's pretty much it for planning this year when it comes to the network stuff. I just want it to feel, a little bit more like a network of podcast friends. That's all I want to do. I just want to bring us together a little bit more. Now, again, as leader of the network, there's a couple things I do want to go over to get us all on the same page and all the shows sounding relatively the same, so the quality is as good as we can all do all around, because that's really the only thing that I am concerned with running this network is audio quality. People only listen to us. All of our shows are purely just audio only shows. Once in a while we do a Facebook Live thing or whatever, and I know, David, you got your Inside the Force on YouTube all the time, but the SiberCast shows are all purely audio only. So what I want to do is make sure we sound great, because people only listen to us. Because I know I've stopped listening to quite a few shows because they've had various audio problems that they just refuse to correct or get rid of. And it's frustrating to listen to, and it's annoying to listen to sometimes. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like why don't you guys been doing this for how many seasons? Fix that. Like, don't be so lazy. And so I've actually quit myself. But as far as I can tell on our shows, everybody seems to have a decent mic now, which was another problem. You can tell when someone's speaking through a webcam. You can tell when somebody's speaking through a really low quality Radio Shack, lapel mic or something. And it's awful. Audio quality is really, really important. But all of us sound really good, so I think everybody's on good mics now, which is good, which is great. Now the other thing that I wanted to get into based on that, so no concerns about mics, but anyone, if you guys or any of you are looking to upgrade a mic or upgrade your headphones or upgrade your recording gear, I know I just helped Jess pick out her new headphones. We've got the same headphones now, and they're great. They're great podcasting headphones. If you guys don't know what to look for, or you need tips, or you want suggestions or something, I can help you with that. I know you guys know what you're looking at. We're all in this same kind of hobby together, but if you want some help with that, let me know. Definitely, because I spend countless hours researching reviews and write-ups and trials and tests and watching YouTube videos and stuff on all that stuff. That's how I've decided to purchase everything that I have. So let me know and just ask, no problem. The one point I want to bring up about mics, since we're talking about mics, is mic positioning. I know you guys probably know about mic positioning, but the way you talk into it is key. So I'll just give you a couple real quick tips, just in case you haven't seen this stuff before. But good mic placement is what gets you good audio. So you don't want to have your mic directly in front of you. You always want to have it offset, whether it's offset a little bit, wherever it is. You don't want to talk right into it, because what that does, it picks up all the P's and the popping and the harsh sounds. It really, really gathers it. So if you have your mic offset just a little bit, your voice is now going across the microphone and not directly into it. So it's still picking up the clean audio, but it's missing the wind coming from your mouth to get those sounds. It's a real simple little trick to get better audio. I know when you see singers on stage, they're pretty much swallowing the mic. That's not what we're doing here. Those are completely different mics that they're using. The dynamic mics that we use for podcasting, you want to just have that offset just a little bit. Watch any tutorials on YouTube about podcast placements, and that's what they'll show you, and it just helps. So that's one little tip about that. The only thing now that I want to bring up that is something that we all need to improve together as a whole, because I'm not going to point fingers at anybody. We have all done it. We've all made the same mistakes, and we've all either been lazy or forgotten or missed something. and that is just getting rid of sounds during a show. So what I want you guys to get used to doing is using your mute button. You guys that podcast with me, you always see me reaching over. I'm always reaching over. When I do that, I'm muting myself. My recorder, the Zoom PodTrack P4, has a mute button on for my mic, so I just mute it, and when I'm done, whatever it is I'm trying to mute out, I unmute myself. So every recording device, whether it's on right on the mic, or it's on your recorder, or it's on the PC if you're recording directly to your computer, you can mute every single one of those things. So, sorry, had to clear my throat there. I was choking on something. We just finished eating not too long ago. Anyway, one of the worst things to hear on a podcast is mouth sounds. Whether it's coughing, sneezing, sniffling, eating, chewing, smacking your lips, rustling papers, sniffling your nose, and banging the mic, all of that stuff, those sounds are awful, and they sound awful on the show. It sounds immediately unprofessional. The mouth sounds sound gross, and when they keep doing them all over and over again, it's, sorry, like I'm doing right now, I keep having to swallow. Holy, it's gross. And what it does is it takes the show quality down a notch. All of us have done it, all of us do it, and all of us forget it sometimes. So again, I'm not pointing fingers at anyone, but it's something that I want everybody to get good at using is your mute button. If you feel a sneeze or a cough, or somebody comes in to talk to you, or you got to flip through some pages to find your notes or whatever, mute yourself so the microphone doesn't pick that stuff up. Get used to it. It becomes part of your routine. It becomes habit. Like I said, you guys see me all the time muting myself. Just get better at doing it, so because what that does is it makes it easier on you in the editing process. You don't have to look for all of those sounds to edit them out. But at the same time, if you happen to make a mistake, if you happen to make, if a sneeze comes out of nowhere, or if you happen to hit the mic, I know that happens to me quite often because the mic is right in front of me, and if I reach across for something, I've hit it sometimes, and that makes a poof, poof, and it's loud. It's loud because the mic is so sensitive, and when you actually hit it, it vibrates the mic, and it's very loud. So I'm like, oh god, I gotta edit that out later. Same thing with sneezes or whatever. If that stuff comes out, make sure you edit it next time, or edit it out later, which is where my next tip comes in. Is other than practicing muting yourself, what I want you guys to do is get used to writing down your timestamps. Every recording device, computer, recorder, whatever, has a counter on it that is counting the amount of time that you're recording for. So if something comes up that you have to mute yourself on, or you miss, here's an example. So this is from The Mandalore the other night. You can see that, at 5:10, we had to pause because me and David were trying to figure something out. At 22:40, my PC made some sounds for some reason. It got in on the recording. At 57:31, we had to pause because I forgot to include our favorite scenes, so I had to go and correct that. And on goes down the list. So I'm constantly writing timestamps down. I just have a pen and a notepad. Every time something happens that is something I can't mute out, or something I missed muting out, I'm always looking at the recorder. Oh, okay, that's the time. I write it down. And then what that does is, when it comes time to editing, I don't have to go through the entire show from start to finish to find all of the sounds, because that is time consuming and none of us have that time. I go in editing with this list, and that's it. I make those 5 edits, and I'm done editing the show, because I know I can trust that the rest of it is pretty good. Sometimes I miss things. Sometimes I've missed a mic hit, or whatever, and that happens. That's fine if it happens. But if you get practiced at writing these down and using the mute button, those two things combined will just improve the quality of your show so much. It'll just make everything sound much more professional. It'll sound like you care about your show and you're trying hard to give our listeners a good experience, because this is the thing that they care about the most. When I've read numerous online surveys, numerous interviews and discussions and different things with podcast hosts and podcast listeners, and every time the question comes up, what don't you like about podcasts, or what don't you like about your show, the number one answer every single time, without fail, on every single survey or questionnaire is they hate mouth sounds. That's the number one thing. So that's the main one that we need to focus on. They hate mouth sounds, body sounds, whatever, because it sounds gross and it's just unprofessional. So we got to get better at doing that kind of stuff. You know, as a funny example, if you happen to mute yourself and you forget to unmute yourself, don't worry, your co-host will tell you. I can't tell you how many times David, Jeff, or Jess are going, "You're muted! Ding, 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 hello, you're muted!" Oh, shoot, and guess what I'm doing? I'm writing down a timestamp. Hey, at 12:02, I forgot to unmute myself, and I fix that later, so. But anyway, there you go. Those are a couple things to get really good at. Another point just to add to it is if you're sniffly, if you got a runny nose or it's cold outside or whatever, you got a bit of a cold, if this is the mic, don't sniff right into the mic, because that's a really loud, high-pitched air sound that the mic is really sensitive to, and it's loud. It's loud on the mic, and it's a body sound that's gross that people don't want to listen to. So my only tip for that is at least turn your head away and sniff to the side, because all microphones have like a bubble of their strongest recording area, I guess you could say. And once you turn outside of that, the volume of that goes down dramatically. So at least turn away, or if you can, mute yourself, and then do what you got to do to clear your nose so you can talk better. So something simple like that. So just doing these couple things, like I said, is going to make your show sound so much better, and it'll make us sound a lot better as a whole. And we can start working with each other in that. Another tip that I have, and this is of course when you guys have time, because I know we're all busy, but listen back to your show once you've released it, not while you're editing it. After you've released it to the world, play your own show back when you got time. When you're listening to podcasts, because we all listen to podcasts, listen to your own show. Every single podcaster, the big guys like Ray Ortega at Podcaster Studio or Podcasters Roundtable, the Audacity to Podcast, I can't remember, all the really big guys that have millions of people listening and following to them, their number one tip from the very beginning, from when I first started 8 years ago, they have always said, listen back to your own show. Because what that does when you listen back to your own show, you start to pick up on all your little habits, not your podcast host and stuff. You hear that stuff when you're recording with each other, but you don't hear yourself until you listen back to it. But you start catching little things that are annoying about the way you speak, like, you know, you take long pauses, or you do sneeze a lot, or you do clear your throat a lot, or you mispronounce words, you talk too fast. That was one for me in the beginning, is I used to talk too fast, and I would slur my words together, and I had to correct that over time. Or you could have crutch words or space filler words, like we had this like awesome podcast show like the other night, and wasn't that like episode like epically, oh my god, it was like you sound like a valley girl, and that nobody wants to hear that. It's awful. It's the worst thing in language is people that use like too much. The other one is like well, you know, I don't know, space filling words, annoying as hell to listen to. And it's better, the tip about that is it's better to just stay quiet, process your thoughts, think of your answer or your response, and then give it. That 1 or 2 seconds of silence, nobody's going to care about. It's better to have that silenced than to have it filled with crutch words and space filling words that just make you sound uneducated. That's what it sounds like. You sound uneducated because your brain is, or your mouth is ahead of your brain, and you can't keep up. So listen back to your show and you start to hear these things in yourself, and you start to fix them. Because for me, when I heard that as the number one tip when me and Jess were starting this, is I listened back to everything we ever did, and I tell you, I've caught a lot of things about myself in the way I speak. And I've been able to train myself out of them, and I feel I sound a lot better now as a host, as a public speaker, and just a conversationalist in general, because I've taken myself away from using these stupid things. It just makes you a better podcast host and speaker in general, in life. So just by listening back to your own shows. But there's always more to learn. Like, I'm not perfect by any means. There's always more to learn. I'm always catching things. In fact, as a story to share with you, in the last few months of 2022, when we were doing Stargirl, the three of us on Legends there, I listened back to, there was like 3 episodes in a row where I could tell that I was eating. And it's my fault because I was coming home so late from work, I didn't have time to eat dinner, so I'd get home, barely have time to do any notes, and we'd get recording. So I'd have a little jar of nuts and stuff, and I'd be, snacking while we're talking. I'm thinking, okay, well, Jess or Jeff are talking, I've got time. While they're talking, I can chew. But then they would stop and they'd be waiting for a response from me, and I've either got like a mouthful of food, or I just finished swallowing and I didn't have a chance to wash it down with water yet, and I try to speak. Well, either one, you got your mouth full of food, so now you sound like Charlie Brown's teacher, or your mouth is dry and you can't pronounce your words properly, and now you're going and you're having trouble. So once I realized that I had done that 3 episodes in a row and I heard how awful that was, it annoyed the crap out of me. I got rid of all food in my office. I no longer have anything here at all in regards to food. I will not eat during a show ever again because it sounds awful. And then the other little tip is making sure you have water with you. And because I'm doing a lot of talking right now, my mouth is actually really dry. I'm not sure what everyone uses to edit their show after recording. I'm just curious. I just want to know out of curiosity what you guys use. I use Magix Vegas. It used to be Sony Vegas. It's a video editing program, but it can also do audio editing. So I everything gets fed through there. It's just a program that I know. So I'm kind of curious what you guys use. But the other thing I wanted to offer help with is that if you guys ever just don't have time or you want help making your show sound better, don't hesitate to help. I've continually added, or asked for help, I should. I've continually added tons of stuff to my setup, whether it's new gear or whether it's software plugins or programs, just to try to make the audio quality even better and better and make the show sound better. In fact, the most recent thing that I just bought was a plugin for my editing software. And a plugin is just an automatic, it's just a little program that gets inserted into your editing software, and it just runs automatically when you select it. So I got this one called, I can't remember the name, but anyway, it reduces sibilance, which is all your S sounds, whatever, S and SH, those kind of things. Because for some reason, my S's, you don't hear it face to face, but the microphone picks it up. My S's are really sharp, and they often have a whistle to them. And I've never been able to correct that. I've never been able to reduce it. I could lower the volume on it, but then end up making it sound like I've got gaps in my words. It's never been fixable. But now I found, 8 years later, 8 years into doing this, I finally found a plugin that can reduce that and get rid of it. And I've started using it, and all of a sudden my S's sound way better. And then I also found one at noise reducing, which I don't personally need to use because I have pre-processing. My microphone goes through an audio processing unit to get rid of the background noise. But this plugin works really, really great. If you happen to be recording in a noisy room, it gets rid of all the noise but keeps the pure fidelity of your voice. It's an amazing plugin. So all these things help keep the integrity of your audio. It just adds to your show and adds to your show's quality, make it sound a lot better. So if you guys want any tips on anything like that, if it's anything I can help you with, if you already know it, great, use that stuff. But if it's not and you want to know, hey, what's that plugin called, or what do you do, or whatever, I'll let you know. I'll help you with that. The other thing that I can do for you too is in your editing, if you guys don't have the time, or you can't be bothered, or it's too much, it's too confusing, if you want to just send me your raw audio file and I'll put it through my processing. It only takes 10 minutes. I can run it through my processing and then I can send you back the cleaned up file, and then that's what you audit with. By all means, let me know. I'll do that. I don't care. I'll do that for you. It doesn't take any time. Just say, hey, here's the file. We need it back by tomorrow night. Okay, I'll run it through. Like I said, it takes 10 minutes and I'll get it done for you. The reason I'm talking about all this stuff, because the most important thing, which I always hear from guys like Ray Ortega, is audio quality needs to be clean. Your audio needs to be clean. That's the word he uses, clean, to make your show sound good. So that's the one thing I want to concentrate on. That's why I'm bringing all this up. So I hope you guys don't mind. I hope I hope you guys aren't mad. You guys aren't offended or don't feel annoyed that I'm saying, hey, let's improve our audio quality, because I'm not mad. I'm not mad at anybody. I hear it on all of our shows, and I want to just make sure we all as a team start to improve this a little bit and make the network all sound really, really good. All of us together. Good, clean audio, getting rid of all these little mistakes and these mouth noises and background noise, whatever it is. Getting rid of that stuff so that our shows sound really good and people know that what comes from us is good quality. That's all I care about, and hopefully you guys don't mind that, and we can discuss it more if you want. Now, that's the dirty weed work out of the way. I want to get into a little bit of a couple fun things here and talk about us, the hosts, a little bit, because there's 6 of us now under SiberCast, and I wanted to tell all of you guys together and individually, some nice thoughts about all of us. So I want to go all the way back to the beginning, back to 2016, I think it was, when me and Jess began this whole Legends shenanigans stuff together. We're going on 8 years now, Jess. Can you believe that? 8 years. I don't know where that time's gone. I just turned 50. I don't know where time's going. It's ridiculous. But we're partners in crime, Jess. Not that the Flash agrees with that, but Reverse Flash sure loves it. He's always up for some evil doings. But because we started this show as the Wonder Twins, one isn't anything without the other. And I just want to make sure you know that. I know that you've got a lot more busy with life now that you've got 2 kids, and you kind of leave a lot of the show stuff up to me, and you sometimes even let me make some changes and decisions or whatever. But I just want you to know that just because you got a little busy doesn't change anything. This is still our show. Legends is ours. And if there's any major difference, any major thing we're going to do or change, then that's something we're going to decide on together, because it's you and me. Like I said, we're partners in crime. So I just want you to remember that going forward, because who knows how many more years we're going to work on this together, right? We're going to keep on doing it. Now, from your busy life, this is where Jeff comes in, because as we are going to be left struggling to keep the show going, because you brought in Little Harley number 2, if it wasn't for you, Jeff, coming in and saying yes to joining us, we truly would be the Legends of the past and not Legends of tomorrow. So thanks, number 1, for the willingness to jump on board. Saying thanks is never quite enough for that, but we also keep saying that how much we appreciate all the social media work that you do, all the fun little graphic touches that you're adding to everything, making little posters up for us and stuff. I mean, the 1 or 2 of those Legends ones that you did was just friggin' awesome. Like, I want to get one of those. There's one of those ones that you did I want to get printed. I think it was the old Western one from season 7 or something. I don't know. But anyway, that stuff's all just fun. You're also quite often the first one to get to each week's tasks. You get them started, whether it's getting the show notes going or it's getting posts up or whatever. You're quite often there first, because maybe you've got more free time. I don't know. But it's just appreciated that you're kind of on top of the game all the time. So maybe me and Jess start thinking about calling us the Wonder Triplets. I don't know. The other thing I wanted to say too is I wanted to point out how awesome it is that you support each and every show underneath SiberCast. It doesn't matter which one I listen to, whether it's Dive into DC or listen back to The Mandalore or Legends or whatever it is. At the end of every single show, there's X-Force 11 leaving feedback. So that's dedication, man, and it doesn't go unnoticed. So let's go from there into hyperspace now, as we jump to a galaxy far, far away, where we meet David. Well, he's only in Kentucky, but he's much closer to you guys than he is to me, so it's far away from me. I wanted to start a new show focusing on The Mandalorian, so I actually went looking for a co-host. I don't know if you guys heard the story or not, but I went and I actually did video interviews. I found a website that is like podcast hosts looking for jobs or something, I can't remember, but I posted an ad in there and I had a couple responders, and then I found Inside the Force and I reached out to their email saying, hey, I'm looking for a co-host. So David responded. So those 3 people, I did online Skype interviews, and David was the 3rd one on that list, and he absolutely trounced the other 2. Like, he must have been using the Force or something. I have no idea, but the other 2 didn't even stand a chance. So Mandalore began, and I just wanted to say, David, like, I wouldn't want to hang out with anybody else for 3 hours talking Star Wars. You're my Star Wars buddy. The buddy I never had growing up. I had a few Star Wars friends that had toys and stuff, but they never had the passion. They didn't have the knowledge that I had, and so you bring that for me, and I just totally appreciate that. I love how much you've taught me over these last couple of years as well. Like I didn't know that being a passionate fan still had this many gaps in knowledge. It's crazy. And all the graphic work that you do, you've created all our logos and stuff, and then you're always promoting on your show, on your Inside the Force network, you're always promoting Mandalore, and that gets us a ton of exposure because you've been around for a while. So totally just appreciate that like crazy. Now, what do you know? We've got 2 new people here that I get to talk about. That's John and Justina. They brought over their new show, Dive into DC. They started as Made of Steel, doing Supergirl, and now they've started a Dive into DC because Supergirl has ended, and now they've joined us. And they do deep dives into all things DC. And you guys seriously challenge me and Vizsla for longest show ever. I think you've had a couple up there around 3 hours, so that's pretty good. You guys do really awesome there, so way to go. As I always argued from the start, let the quality of content dictate the length of the show, not a time restraint. Because it's just silly to say every show has to be 40 minutes. Every show has to be that long. Then you're restricting yourself. So let the quality of the content dictate it. I've always said that. So with your Dive into DC show, I've been listening for the last couple of weeks. I'm back at my old job, and where I can wear my headphones all day long. So I'm starting to finally catch up on everything I haven't been able to listen to when I was outside doing landscaping all summer. So I've been catching up on all your shows. You guys have been in my ears for like weeks, so I feel like I've just been personally one-on-one with you guys. I started with the Batman, then the 2 Earth Prime episodes you did, which led me to go buy those comics because I never actually had them yet. So I went and bought them finally, and I just got Batwoman in. I ordered it off of eBay. Of course, issue number 1 is the one I couldn't find, so I couldn't even get started on them. But then I went from that to your Flash Season 8 coverage, to your Black Adam review, which, by the way, is the perfect companion episode to my quick one. You guys do the big deep dive, and I do the quick 10-minute review, and it was actually a really good companion episodes together. I just finished your Batman Returns after 30 years. Whew, it's been a lot, and I've been listening to you guys, but I want to interject here because you've asked on your show quite a lot for your listeners to suggest doing a show, and I would love you guys to do a deep dive into an animated movie that is my personal favorite, and that's Flashpoint. It's not just because it's the Flash. The Flashpoint, I think, is the most hardcore and serious out of all of their films. It's surprisingly violent. It's surprisingly brutal and surprising and shocking in how different the characters are. And since there's a live-action Flash movie coming out, which I think it's based loosely on this story, I think it would be great to dive into that one before the film comes out. And then when the film comes out, maybe do some comparisons, between the two. My other request that you guys do a deep dive on is Aquaman with Jason Momoa. Because it's been mentioned on your show quite a few times that Wonder Woman is the best of them all. And you mentioned other films, but not once. Unless I've missed it, unless it's on one of the episodes I haven't listened to, not once have you ever brought up Aquaman. And to me, that is DC's greatest film of all. In fact, it might even be one of the best solo superhero films. I certainly like it a lot better than some of Marvel's solo superhero films. Wonder Woman is number 2. Wonder Woman is number 2, but for me, Aquaman far surpasses even that one. So I would love to hear you guys get into it and see what you think. Because I don't even know if you guys will watch it. You've never mentioned it as far as I know, so I don't even know if you've watched it. I would love to hear what you have to say. Anyway, let's get to speaking to you guys both. What I've noticed, which is really fun, is you guys, I don't know how many episodes you're in now, but you've started to develop a rhythm together. You're starting to develop this fun, goofy side to your commentary. There's a lot of back and forth, and you're kind of razzing each other a little bit. It's getting pretty fun. Even when you guys, because you started off agreeing on everything, and now that you've been doing it for a while, you're starting to separate and have different feelings now, and it's creating, I think, even better conversation. So it's really good. It's really fun to watch, to listen to you guys developing as your time goes on. But what I really appreciate is your in-depth news coverage of all things happening in DC, because you guys actually really investigate the news. You find out the truth behind all the clickbait articles that show up, because so many people, and me included, react quickly to those, pardon me, without knowing if it's truth or fact. But you guys dig for the proof. So I like that. I just love that. And I also wanted to point out that I think it's quite ingenious of you guys to go this route of covering all of DC instead of just a TV show. Because what that does is leaves it wide open for you with huge variety and content to choose from and to discuss. So it gives you longevity. Because I don't think DC is going to go anywhere for any time soon. It's not like they're going to kill Superman off or Wonder Woman and stop talking about them. So you guys are in the long fall. I hope you're prepared for that, because you're probably going to be the last show on the network. That and maybe the Star Wars show. But yeah, seriously. Anyway, it's also a really good idea, planning-wise, to always end your show with what's coming next. That just makes it easy for you guys. You already know, okay, well, we're done talking about Batman. Next week, we're doing this. And there you go. It's already set for you. People know what to expect, and it gets them looking forward to what's coming. So, easy and smart. Good job. Now, to individualize things a little bit, Mr. John, Mr. Silverbox, I've noticed something on your show that makes me laugh. It's something funny with the way you host, and I wanted to bring up the joke that I think somebody should create a drinking game out of your show and give you the new, I want to give you the new nickname Laughing Box instead of Silverbox, because I tried on one of your episodes to count how many times you laugh, chuckle, snicker, hee hee, whatever. I lost in like an hour and a half episode or whatever. I lost count after 60. I just couldn't keep up because I wanted to hear what you guys were saying. So you definitely have a fun habit there with your laughter, and it would make a killer drink. People would be done before the show's even half over. You'd have them on the floor and passed out. That's hilarious. How much and your laugh is always different. It's like I said, it's a chuckle or it's a snicker. It's a full-on belly laugh. It is pretty funny. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to point out that I appreciate is how much you promote all the other shows. You never stop. You always talk about The Mandalore. You always talk about Legends of Tomorrow. You always cue things up for us. You're always promoting everybody else. So you're basically the cheerleader of the group. And that just makes me happy. I like that. The other thing that I don't think I ever told you about is way back when you guys were starting Made of Steel, and you've mentioned it a few times to me, and I don't think I've ever said this to you, but you had told us way back then that you tailor your shows after ours because you liked the format that we did, you like all the features that we had, the sound clips and the different things, and just the way it's all laid out, and you wanted to copy that and mimic that and design your show after that. And then you took those ideas and made them your own and, tweaked them and did your own kind of things, put your own spin on it. And I just wanted to say that made me proud. Like, I was really, really proud to hear that, because as a producer and creator of a few shows, that makes me feel good. So, thank you. Now, Miss Butterfly, the evergreen one, I also have a new nickname for you, and I want to change it to the Positive Ray of Light Butterfly. I don't mean like you guys actually have to change your names. I'm just saying, because I find every time I'm listening to you guys, I am simply amazed that no matter what the topic is, no matter the content, no matter the negative backlash that's coming at, or no matter if John is complete opposite from you, which he's been lately, you always find the ray of light, the silver lining, the positive angle, and that's uncanny. I have no idea how you do that, because for all the grumping and groaning that I am susceptible to doing on our shows once in a while, you definitely counter that, and it always makes me rethink, because I'll say all this stuff, and then you come on, whether it's in feedback or you talk about it on your show, you come on with this completely different positive angle to something that I was upset about, and it makes me think. I'm like, she's probably right about that, and I rethink things. So to me, that's truly a superpower that you have. So, Positive Ray of Light Butterfly. It's definitely, you guys are both definitely a welcome addition to the network. So, anyway, that is all I have written for my notes, guys. Hopefully that wasn't too bad, wasn't too annoying to listen to. Talking about like eating before a show, I had a big full lasagna dinner and chocolate cake. We were celebrating with Lisa's family my birthday, and the chocolate cake is just like sitting right here, and it's just making me very uncomfortable trying to talk. It feels like my voice box is blocked a little bit. But anyway, I hope again that didn't bother you guys for me to bring up the few things I'd like all of us to get better together on our shows, is just cleaning up the audio a little bit more. And a couple of the tips that I offered, I hope you guys don't mind, and I hope you guys appreciate that I am willing to help. I'm here to help. It doesn't mean I'm better than you or know more than you. It's just we all have different levels of knowledge. So if you guys need anything, just let me know, and I'll help out with that. Other than that, let's figure out when we want to do a Flash preview show, and then we'll start figuring out who and when is going to cover the Flash, and doing some crossover episodes as the season goes on. If you guys want to guest on Superman and Lois one time, we'll figure it out. Maybe you guys come up with a topic on Dive in DC, and you want to bring one of us on or all of us on to discuss it. Hey, we'll do that. Whatever. Bring Vizel on. Vizel has never talked superhero stuff, so let's see what he has to say. I don't know. Maybe you guys can come on do a Star Wars episode with us or something. We'll figure it all out. But 2023 is going to be busy. We got a lot coming. I know I got a lot coming with Flash and Superman Lois and Bad Batch and then Mandalorian Season 3 and yada yada. Like it's going to be busy. Poor SiberCast just keeps getting put on the back shelf. I had so many things planned for that one this year, so maybe I'll work on it, but I also want to do the website and all that kind of stuff. Anyway, 2023 is going to be a busy year, but I'm glad you guys are here with me and we're all together, and I just want to bring us together. So, yeah, that's it. So this is Martin signing off.